Good morning, friends. Welcome you to my YouTube channel, Dr.P.C.Jha. After a long time, I simply thought it over that why did not so something is to be told, something is to be talked, something is to be discussed, something is to be just interacted, you can say. Now the question here is that what is it? What should we actually discuss in over? The other question here is that when you simply think of the very Delhi, you can say to this is the election monsoon or election season, whatsoever things are there. On the road, there is the pack particularly of the advertisement on the part of the very different party, or you can say leaders like that. They are not moving, but basically, but they are simply just making some sort of video to be made, and after that announcement is to be made, some song is to be sung, and this is how the life goes like that. Now the question here is that is it the India that we simply dreamed of like that, you can say. Is it the India everything is really supposed to be depending particularly on certain thing, particularly as parasite like that? Not you can say yeah. Now the question here is that what is to be done? Is it not here? Rule tells something different, and rule is actually made to be just be fooled like that. The person actually doesn't listen to it here. Person doesn't actually just bother for that much of the thing. You simply find it over there. The person in general actually take the thing, everything just lightly, you can see here. Person is using just person, or you can say it about that a kind of fashion has actually become. Everybody wants to just cheat other person. If you do certain thing, particularly out of the passion, out of the emotion, out of, you can say the honesty for the sake of the nation's person simply just blame you. Or not blame you, or blame you to be just be fooled like that. Just this morning, one of the boys simply told me, what for you are just actually making sanitation? Nobody comes forward, you can see here. Now the question here is that should I wait for anybody to come and so that I can start the thing? No. Whatever business you can do, you must do yourself, is it not, sir? Who knows? Who knows somebody will come forward? Who knows somebody will not come forward, you can say. Now, what type of culture we are actually developing, particularly in our country? The culture particularly of the sarkar, the culture particularly of the very lethargic person, the culture, you can say it about that, of the very just person did on it like that. The person actually just covetous one, the person just greedy one, you can say. Is it the India we dreamed of like that? No, not like that, you can say. Now the question here is that a kind of hesitation is there to do the work, you don't say. If you do not do the work, what would you like to do? Certainly you will take the thing particularly out of free, maybe ration is there, maybe fashion is there, maybe house is there, maybe everything is there. What are you branded with? You are called beggar. And India is actually being converted into beggary, I mean to say. If you do not do any sort of a business out of doing nothing, and you are getting something, is it not beggary, you can say? Oh, you my dear friend, I simply tell you that still time is there. Awake, is it not, sir? Awake and get yourself to be strong, and then that strength will come only then when you are actually busy doing certain things, is it not, sir? If you do not do the things, certainly a time will come, you will be of nowhere at all, you can say. Now nearly 80 crore people, is it not, sir? They are suffering from the same type of mania, same type of, we can say it about that habit like that. Why don't you develop the habit of work? Why don't you actually make the work culture? Why don't you think it over that nothing is good, nothing is bad, everything is really supposed to be just requirement particular of the time. Sometimes something is actually put on the path of future to some other person, you can see. Now I am just talking about the leaders. Do you think it over that? Are they born actually with that the silver spoon in their mouth? No. Some of them struggle, and after that they came to the very position, but many of them actually enjoy the life like that. Why don't you make a sort of experiment when the leaders are making experiment on you? You don't say. What is the experiment? In the name of covetousness, in the name of attraction, in the name of manipulation, in the name of caste, in the name of language, in the name of we can say about that some status, you are actually being cheated nearly every day. I came to know it about that whenever you are in the procession, some amount is given, some food is given, some tea is given, even wine is given. Are you the citizen? I don't think it about that you're a citizen. You are simply just hired person actually moving in the very procession. Whenever some sort of, you can say a big crowd is there, a leader is addressing you, and I come to know it about that they are paid. And if they are paid, I don't think it about that you, I mean to say it as the other near, you, Mr. Respectable, you are getting no sort of popularity. It is the money that brings the very person to the podium. Otherwise, you are nowhere at all. Now, my dear friend, I simply just want to ask you about that. When the leaders are making experimentation with that of the status of yours, why don't you make the various experimentation with that of the leader? You see the EVM, I mean to say, tomorrow there will be the election, still time is there. EVM is there, EVM has got one of the column that is known as nota. Nota is none of the above. None of the above means nobody is actually just applicable for the sake of the very selection or election like that. Is not, sir. Once you do, certainly you make just unemployed the leader, certainly almost all the person will be getting the employment in the country like that. Because you have seen the very hunger there in the intestine. You have seen your tooth to be really supposed to be gone. You have actually felt everything that is thought to be dark. You have actually lived particularly out without food in the stomach in the night. But you just go and ask the leaders, have they ever remained unfrightened? Perhaps not. It's not here. So, my dear friend, at least for the sake of the nation, at least for the sake of country, one thing you do, don't cast vote to any of the person, maybe belonging to any party, maybe just independent, whatever things are there. It's not here. In that case, you will simply find it out that India will be changed one. India will be really supposed to be something different. Different in the sense, whosoever person will come new, you will be getting different type of option. But right now, what option have you got? Only two or three options. Three or four or five options like that. They are the leading and remaining are the followers like that. They are the backbencher. They do not know how to speak. And they do not actually courage to speak. Maybe because of the region, top leaders will simply make them to just coming down. There is the question here is that you, my dear friend, such and such country comes first. Sometimes I had to quote Abraham Lincoln by telling it out that what your country gives you, that doesn't matter. What you give to your country, that matters. Here. Still time is there, my dear friend. No question. I simply just tell it about that. I don't actually think of myself. I simply think of the country. Where does the country go? The persons who are ruling it, the persons who are moving in on red carpet, the persons who have got 10 lakh population, particularly BBIP or VIP. Now the questions are there. Who made them to be BVIP and VIP? It is ZIP. ZI means zero important person, whom you say Aam Aadmi or you can say Khash Aadmi like that. So you, Mr. Such and Such, you are important, you are significant, your significance gives the sense of the very just upper hand, particularly for the sake of the leaders or maybe for the sake of the rich man persons here. Is it not here? Now the questions here are there. These poor are actually always taught to become somewhat honest. Why? What about the rich? Are they never thought it, not taught like that? You, Mr. Rich and Rich, you should actually become somewhat just honest like that. Is it not here? Now the question here is that country has got such a strength that everybody will be getting employment, provided there is the proper, you can say about that, planning, provided there is planning, operation like that. Now certainly almost all the persons will be getting the job like that, you can see here. Now the question here is that what they are giving the thing, that particularly the food or maybe whatsoever things are there for the sake of just eating, nothing at all. You are giving the job. What is the job about? 5,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees, 7,000 rupees, 15,000 rupees. How many of you are actually getting 1 lakh of the very amount? We don't say. Now the question here is that when you actually opt some of the jobs, certainly your qualification is asked. What about the persons who are just shouldering the responsibility of the nation? What about their qualification? Is it ever asked? Perhaps not. It's not so. The person who doesn't know how to speak, the person who doesn't actually know how to read the, just you can say about that, some sort of a speech, is not so. The persons who are the backbencher, the persons who have got nothing at all, they are getting no status at all. The persons who are giving you the money, no question, but the area where you live, that is dirty. Out of the dirty will be falling ill, and illness will take you too much amount, particularly for the sake of, you can say, toward that hospital bill like that. Now the question here is that I simply ask the leaders, you leaders, you are giving everything free, is it not? No question. Are you giving it from your pocket? Are you giving it from the property of your parents? No, perhaps not. It's not here. Now the question here is that what are you just making the society? Don't you think it about that? You are not giving the job. You are taking the job also. It's not here. The person has developed the mentality of getting everything free of cost, you can say here. Suppose the doctors, suppose the professionals, who doesn't get this type of facility, they have started their own startup. It's not here. Nobody goes there. If the person goes, certainly the person comes and asks it about that. Are you likely to give the thing free of cost? It's not here. Are you killing the persons or are you building the purpose? My saying here is that you are not doing any sort of thing. You are simply thinking of the welfare of yourself. You are simply thinking of what the state of yourself, status of yourself. You are simply thinking of the just luxury life of yourself. For Janta's sake, I don't think you think like that. I simply just actually started a campaign about this Uttam Nagar. I simply tell it about that Uttam Nagar is Ganda Nagar. Here I simply quote the example of just Kheda Park 2, you can see here. For the last 1.5 years and more, nearly every day I just clean for 1 hour. Not to speak of that, I motivate the children to just come to the track like that. You know what I'm saying? They are actually getting what type of culture? They are just actually speaking vulgar terms. They are actually fighting like that. If you go to the places, you will be getting thrown water, just bottle of wine. Not to speak of that, their gates gates actually do not close in the night like that. What is the facility there? There is a committee, I mean to say, is not sir. That committee, what does they do? Or what do they do? Perhaps nothing at all. It's not simply killing the time. They simply just this parkage of the 15 years. If something had been done particularly, until the park would have been something somewhat better. Male persons are there, they're actually urinating just by the side of the wall. What about the women? Women do not get any just pink toilet like that. My dear friend, if you listen to the very speech of mine, you can say the motivation of mine, maybe government agency or maybe whatsoever agencies are there, they must come forward with a view to just take it like that. Many women simply tell it about that, sir, this should be there. But I'm not the authority. I'm simply a consider that a volunteer, simply a person actually doing the social service. Not for the sake of the benefit, but for the sake of the very nation, for the sake of the very area where the people are backward. Or is it not so? A kind of tendency is there. Let there be given drugs. Let there be given, you can say, to the wine. Let there be given almost all the nasty habit to the person, so that the persons who are down towards and they should not actually rise up. You move on the road of Delhi, you will be finding it out that underage boys, they are actually simply just actually pulling the tricycle or maybe other thing, and they are just picking the racks like that. Are they not the children of India? Should they not be given any attention? Is not here. Are they not supposed to be concerned about that actually getting birth from the womb of the very poor mother like that? What type of India are you developing? Are the India a dark one where development is no longer there, or we can say it about the Bharat? India that is bright one, there where every facility is there, is not sir. The very person, rich one, you can see, they are actually youngsters, or you can say offspring are moving on the road, doing a stunt, actually killing almost all the thing. Now the question here is that in residential area, something is being sold. Maybe ganja is there, maybe opium is there, maybe other things are there. Doors are closed, only windows are there like cinema halls. It was okay. But this time of scenario is actually gone. Hand goes with the money, and when a hand actually comes back, some packet is there, black one, white one. What is it? I can't say possible. From distance I see it here. Another question here is that Supreme Court of India has simply told it about that nobody can actually smoke on the public places. But right now, you see, this order is actually just humiliated and kicked like anything. On the road, everywhere. Old one, young one, they are actually just smoking. How do they smoke? You can just smell ganja. You can make something. I can't say what is the difference like that. Is it not so? You are distributing death. You are selling death. You are buying death. Out of these three, selling death, buying death, and distributing death, life is existing. I came from the just pollution-free zone, from the hill of the Arunachal Pradesh right now for the last 1 or 2 years, you can say I am in Delhi. My cup started becoming somewhat black. Out of what? Maybe the smoke thrown on the road, maybe the smoke actually coming out of the vehicle. And one question, just say thing, why haven't you make the pedestrian like that? When jam is there, two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler. Roads are completely packed. Many times I faced it out that some biker actually makes the very handle to be actually collided with that in the hands like that. Is it the India that we simply dreamed of here? Is it the Hindustan we dreamed of like that? No. If somebody asked me, sir, you please come to my residence, then I have to put a question. Does your neighbor know you? Answer is no. Who should I ask? Mr. Misra, Mr. Gupta, Mr. Ram, Mr. Shyam, where do they live? No. There was a same breath was rightly told in his book. Big cities are dreadfully lonely places. No question, we are moving on in the crowd. But in the heart we are lone. Besides that, one thing more is there. You are talking about pension when the matter is the matter particularly of this election. I have seen many persons with grey hair just getting more than 60 years. They are doing certain type of job, somebody operating e-rickshaw, somebody doing this and that like that. This scenario shows it about they must have been compelled to do the thing. My dear government, my dear leaders, don't think of the pleasure of yours. A time will come, somebody will be just making you to be just torn like that. Or this day is no longer very thing. when you just actually do the things certainly that behavior will just develop the nature in the very person whom you teach, and that person will teach you. You know, sir, this is the nature you can see here. And one question more is there. You want to have the protection. During, I think, sometimes I see the, listen to the very speech of the old leaders like that. No protection, nothing was at all there. Public where they are just considered that protective. But right now, every time, some sort of psychosis is there. Have you got the nectar to be just drunk so that you will never be dead? Certainly you will be dead. Arey, kill it here. No problem, we don't share. But my life's tagline, let me tell you it or that, somewhere I had read. जो भरा नहीं है भावों से बहती जिसमें रसधार नहीं, वो हृदय नहीं है पत्थर है जिसमें स्वदेश का प्यार नहीं. दो लाइन मैंने आरएसएस से लिया है, कभी मैं कॉलेज के ज़माने में इसमें था. वो लाइन आज भी मेरे साथ है, नमस्ते सदामत, वो तो मुझे दो चार लाइन याद है. लेकिन वह लाइन जो है, कायर न बनो वीर बनो देश के लालो, इस मुर्द पड़ी जात को तुम फिर से संभालो. आप नेता के घर जाते क्यों हो? आप ऐसा काम करो कि नेता को आपके पास आना चाहिए. उनके पैसे को चाहो तो किक कर दो, कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है, पैसे की ज़रूरत नहीं है. आप काम मांगो, उससे काम मांगोगे, काम मिलेगा, पैसे मिलेंगे, खाओगे तो इज्जत होगी. जब फ्री का खाओगे तो माथा भी वैसे हो जाएगा. और उसके बाद ये कहा भी जाता है, जैसा खाओ अन्न वैसा होगा मन. सर, और वो पैसे कहाँ से आए, किस सोर्स से आए, आप जानते हो क्या? नहीं. तो पहले तो पसीना बहाओ, पहले तो ईमानदार बनो, चाहे कम ही खाओ आधा ही खाओ. और चाहो तो जहाँ पे एकदम ज़रूरी हो तो एकदम ये करो, और एक बार तो ज़रूर करो. मैं एकदम शुद्ध शाकाहारी हिंदी में बोलना चाहता हूँ. अगर आपको रोज़गार चाहिए, नेताओं को बनाओ बेरोजगार, है ना. वो बनाने का एकदम साधन है. दिल्ली से ही शुरू करो ना, कैपिटल इंडिया का. किसी को भी वोट मत दो, है ना. जाके सब के सब नोटा में दो. जब सारे के सारे बेरोजगार हो जाएंगे तब आपके रोजगार के बारे में सोचेंगे. नहीं तो भाषण में वो उसको शिकायत करेगा, तुमने रोजगार नहीं दिया, या महंगाई बढ़ा दिया, ये कर दिया, वो कर दिया. तो ग्राउंड रियलिटी, और कहीं हमने पढ़ा था, जितनी दिमाग पुलिस लगाता है उतना ही दिमाग अपराधी में लगाता है. अपराधी लगाता है अपना विट, तो किस तरह हम पुलिस को धक्का हमारे ये से बच सकते हैं, और पुलिस लगाता है हमें किस तरह पकड़ सकते हैं. आज वही चोही बल्ली का खेल हो गया है. नेता चाहता किस तरह जनता को लपेट दिया, जनता सोचता चलो भैया नहीं, कुछ तो समथिंग इज बेटर देन नथिंग, कुछ तो मिला, जो भी मिला, है ना. ये जो भी के लिए पैदा हुए. देखिए, अगर ऐसा इंसान, अगर हिंदुस्तान बनाना चाहते थे यार, ऐसा हिंदुस्तान बना के क्या करोगे, है ना, क्या करोगे. हिंदुस्तान वैसा बनाओ जहाँ चेहरे पे एकदम लालिमा हो, जहाँ चेहरे पे मुस्कुराहट हो, लोग एक दूसरे से मिले गले के नाम में. कभी धर्म के नाम पे लड़ते हो, कभी जाति के नाम पे लड़ते हो, कभी भाषा के नाम पे लड़ते हो, कभी नेता के नाम पे लड़ते हो. कभी तुम भीड़ में मारे जाते हो, कभी वो नेता पूछता है आपके बारे में क्या है. मुझे तो नहीं लगता. दुनिया में जितनी भी लड़ाइयाँ होती है, कभी सुना है कोई नेता मरता है क्या? नहीं मरता है. जब कोई नेता कभी नहीं मरता तो आप नेता के लिए क्यों मरने जाते हो? आपसे बड़ा क्या कहेंगे, मुझे बोलने की ज़रूरत नहीं, आगे क्वेश्चन मार्क है. सोच लो, है ना. इंसान को इशारा काफ़ी है. हिंदुस्तान को अगर मजबूत बनाना चाहते हो तो विकल्प खोजो. विकल्प तभी मिलेगा. और वो मैं बोलता हूँ 13 करोड़ जो लोग हैं जो पढ़े लिखे अनएम्प्लॉयड हैं, आए दिन मैं टीवी में देखता हूँ, नौकरी के लिए उसे लाठी का डंडा मारा जाता है, ये किया जाता है, वो किया जाता है. पार्लियामेंट में क्यों नहीं आते? आ जाओ ना पार्लियामेंट. असेंबली में क्यों नहीं आते? उसमें भी आ जाओ ना. ये जो तुम्हारा ये कि म्यूनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन में, वहाँ भी तो आ सकते हो. फ़र्क इतना है कि यहाँ का प्रोसीजर थोड़ा अलग है. जब आपकी उम्र खत्म हो गई, आपको खोने के लिए कुछ भी नहीं है, पाने के लिए बहुत कुछ है. अगर एक दिन के लिए भी एमपी बन गए, एक दिन के लिए भी एमएलए बन गए, तो आपको पूरी ज़िंदगी पेंशन मिलेगा, है ना. और ठाट बाट तो रहेगी. और आप अब जब आओगे तो अभी जो वर्तमान में उससे बढ़िया बनोगे, क्योंकि आपने अतिड़ी का भूख देखा है, आपने गरीबी देखा है, आप कोचिंग सेंटर में रहे हो. और मैं कोचिंग वालों को भी बोलता हूँ, वह कोचिंग वाले जो आईएएस बनने आते हैं, आईएएस तो नहीं बन पाते हैं, तो दुनिया भर का आईएएस बनाते हो. तो भैया आप ऐसा कोचिंग क्यों नहीं खोलते हो जहाँ बेटर लीडर पैदा करो, है ना. वो जाति वाति को छोड़ो, है ना. और मैंने बार बार कहा, किस जाति की बात करते हो? आपका डेवलपमेंट कहाँ से हुआ? सेल से हुआ. सेल से बने टिश्यू से बने ऑर्गन से ह्यूमन बना. तो ह्यूमन हमने नाम लिख दिया, झा किसी ने लिख दिया, सिंह किसी ने लिख दिया, दास, और लड़ रहे हो. किसने लड़ रहे हो यार? कपड़ा खोल के देखो, नहीं शायद दिख रहे हो. खून का शरीर चिर के देखो, खून ही भी लाल है, हरा है क्या? नहीं है. तो लड़ क्यों रहे हो? जो पुरानी सड़ी गली व्यवस्था है उसको बंद तो करो यार. और अभी आप जिस जॉब के लिए लड़ रहे हो, जिस रिजर्वेशन के लिए लड़ रहे हो, आने वाले समय में आर्मी में भी तुम्हारा आपको रोबोट दिखाई देगा. आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस सबका काम कर रहा है. जापान में देखो, जो रोबोट है आपस में लड़ रहे हैं होटल में भैया काम के लिए, है ना. तब जब इस तरह की स्थिति है तो हम लड़ क्यों रहे हैं, हम बैठ करके क्यों नहीं सोच सकते? और ज़िंदगी में दो बातें हैं, अगर आप समझ गए तो ज़िंदगी जिंदगी बन जाएगी, लव एंड अंडरस्टैंडिंग। ये लाइन है पेब्लो नेरूदा का, नाइजेरियन पोइट, जिसे मिला था क्या कहते हैं, नोबेल प्राइज, है ना। और वह बड़ी अच्छी बात बोलता है, ये दो चीज़ें अगर आ जाए दुनिया में, जिससे प्यार कहते हैं और दूसरा कहते हैं समझ, एक दूसरे से प्यार करके समझ करके हम चलते हैं तो कोई झगड़ा होगा ही नहीं। ईगो को एक तरफ रखो ना। अगर टी.एस. एलियट को लाता हूँ, टी.एस. एलियट ने बड़ी अच्छी लाइन कही है, टीयर आउट योर इमोशन, देयर इज़ नो प्रॉब्लम। आपका प्रॉब्लम इसलिए है कि किसी ने आपको कुत्ता कह दिया तो आप गुस्सा हो जाते हो, किसी ने आपको शेर कह दिया तो आप खुश हो जाते हो। ना आप शेर हो ना कुत्ता हो, आप आदमी हो, है ना। सीधा सा सवाल है, आप आदमी हो ना शेर हो कुत्ता हो, तो अब सीधा सा सिंपल लो ना, इधर से सुना इधर से निकाल दिया, कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है। अब किसी ने मुझे रोज ही पार्क में जब सफाई करता है, दुनिया भर के फकरे पड़ते रहते हैं। और मैं सरकार को भी उस तरफ ध्यान दिलाना चाहता हूँ। यह उत्तम नगर एक बहुल आबादी है, और वह जो पार्क है, उस पार्क में आप आके देखो, सीक्रेटली देखो, स्टिल्थली देखो, बगल में पुलिस स्टेशन भी बना हुआ है, और उसके बगल में हमने सुना है एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन भी है। पार्क में जो काम करने वाले 3-4 कर्मचारी हैं। अभी तो हमारे जैसे कुछ लोगों ने सफाई में का बीड़ा उठाया है, तो साफ सुथरा रखता है। और मैं वीडियो बनाकर रोज़ ही करता हूँ, और रोज़ इसलिए करता हूँ शायद किसी का ध्यान चला जाए और शायद उस पार्क का कल्याण हो जाए। और मैं प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी को भी बोलूँगा, आपका स्वच्छ भारत अभियान का ही बीड़ा हमने उठाया है, और ये मैं इसलिए नहीं किया कि आपने कहा, हमारा दिल कहता है, और पेशे से मास्टर हूँ और रिटायर हुआ, और जहाँ भी रहा मैंने ऐसा ही किया। और आज इसको जब तक हमारे आँख में रोशनी होता, हमारे पैर में दम है, मैं ऐसा करता रहूँगा। मुझे सावसी की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है ना। आज भी सुबह करके आया, एक लड़के ने ज़रूर पूछा मेरे से, आप ही करते हो बाकी क्यों नहीं करता है? अगर हम सब आदमी ऐसा सोचने लगे तो हिंदुस्तान में काम ही नहीं होगा, है ना। कोई परिवार में क्या पूरा आदमी काम करता है? क्या नहीं करता है। तो उसी तरह क्या पूरे सरकार में पूरा आदमी काम करता है? क्या नहीं करता है। तब सवाल उठता है, अगर हर आदमी अगर हर बात को समझने लगे, अपना जिम्मेदारी पूरा करने लगे, और ये पैरासाइड वाली स्थिति जो है, किसी को इसकी टोपी उसको पहना करके काम करने लगे, तो देश कहाँ रहेगा? देश तो खत्म हो जाएगा। अगर इस तरह सदा बढ़ते रहोगे, और क्या कह सकते हैं इसको, रबड़ी, कुबेर का धन नहीं रहा तो हिंदुस्तान कहाँ रहेगा यार। कहीं कब्रिस्तान मत बनाओ, इससे शमशान मत बनाओ, है ना। और लोगों से को अगर मदद भी करते हो तो मदद करने के बदले में काम भी ले लिया करो, है ना। जैसे मनरेगा में लेते हैं, मनरेगा में भी क्या होता है मुझे बताने की जरूरत नहीं। चलिए, मैंने एक बीड़ा उठाया है और उसका लाइन हमने बना रखा है, उत्तम नगर इस गंदा नगर, मेक इट साफ नगर। चल उठ जाग रे जन हो मुखर, ले नेता की खबर, बना सुंदर उत्तम नगर, नोटा का भूत अपना कर। दिस मच, थैंक यू वेरी मच।